So the Nepo baby, Mr. Kennedy, RFK Jr., one of the other suspected Epstein associates, has now condemned this nation to death. If the book of Revelation is real, it's happening right now. RFK has halted $500 million worth of mRNA vaccine research. This is a man. YouTube, bear with me here. RFK is a man with no expertise in medicine. This man has never studied medicine. This man is not a doctor. This man is not qualified to speak on any of this. He is a vibes-based influencer. He is somebody who is a heroin head, someone who swims in poop water, someone who ties dead animal skulls and heads to the front of his car, someone who leaves dead bears lying in parks. This is not really the kind of guy who should be determining America's future in terms of health. But unfortunately, he is. So, RFK Jr. has halted $500 million for mRNA vaccine research. People, we are cooked. The federal government is calling off around $500 million worth of vaccine development projects that use mRNA technology. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced Tuesday. The 22 now terminated projects were funded through the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, or BARDA. Most of the projects that were canceled were for vaccines that fight COVID-19 or the flu, Kennedy said. They include proposals from Pfizer, Sanofi Pasteur, and other drug makers that were rejected or canceled, along with a now shuttered award to Moderna to develop a bird flu vaccine. According to an HHS statement, the projects were reviewed and canceled over the last few weeks, said Kennedy. A Moderna spokesperson told CBS News that the company's H5N1 bird flu contract was canceled in May, and it isn't aware of any new BARDA cancellations. Kennedy framed the move as part of a step away from research into mRNA vaccines. These types of vaccines use messenger RNA or mRNA to prompt the body to make proteins that induce antibody production to protect against an infection. The approach has drawn more interest since the COVID-19 pandemic, when mRNA vaccines by Pfizer and Moderna were found to be safe and effective against the coronavirus. Public health officials credit the rapid development of the vaccines with saving millions of lives. Nonetheless, Kennedy has said the HHS has determined that this technology poses more risk than benefits for these respiratory issues. He goes on to say a single mutation can make mRNA vaccines ineffective. Okay. I got to be careful reading these because YouTube will flag my video for being misinformation when I'm not actually spreading any. I'm actually trying to combat it. So that will be as far as we read here. But this is an individual who does not know what he is talking about. Like, take RFK's favorite disease, for example, the disease he probably, scrubs his balls with and things of that nature. Measles. Measles can mutate. But from what I've read, it does not mutate in a way that significantly impacts the effectiveness of the vaccine. While measles does undergo mutations, these mutations don't typically lead to the virus escaping the immune response generated by the measles vaccine, because the measles virus proteins that are targeted by the vaccine are highly conserved and do not tolerate mutations that would allow the virus to evade immunity. Now, RFK does not care about the fact that vaccines, for the most part, are effective. They do protect you from contracting these diseases, and even if you were to get them, the vaccines are effective at limiting the symptoms you would experience, minor or even major. RFK could not give a single solitary fuck. There are many diseases that can mutate. That doesn't mean we stop treating them. That doesn't mean we stop encouraging people to try to, get vaccinated, to get tested for other kinds of diseases, and make sure that if they have any of these viruses, that they get them cured and taken care of. This is the kind of stuff you're dealing with here, where in RFK's world, Because these diseases could mutate, you shouldn't treat them. There are all sorts of diseases that can mutate, all sorts of viruses that can mutate. We still give people antibiotics to treat them. We still give people vaccines to prevent them. In a perfect world, more people would get vaccinated and more people would take antibiotics when they get an illness, and that way we could reduce the frequency of it within the population and possibly reach herd immunity. RFK doesn't want that though, because in his mind, because the vaccine cannot scour the globe and kill the virus wherever it is, the vaccine is now useless in RFK Jr.'s eyes. Now, mind you, I firmly believe that when RFK and his family went to that weird fucking poop lake, I firmly believe they took antibiotics either prior to or after going there. I firmly believe that. If you think RFK isn't actually utilizing these drugs and these developments of modern medicine for his own safety, you are delusional. RFK is on testosterone at 70-something years old. He would have you believe it's all natural and holistic, and he spreads his asshole to the sun, and he eats blades of grass and whatever the fuck goes on over there. He would have you believe that's what's going on. Not that he's cycling tests at 70-something years old, which he obviously is. RFK believes that diseases and death are for the plebs, the underlings, the lower classes. Medicine and things of that nature are for the elites, people like himself. These people are absolutely demonic and insane. RFK has literally said on record, do not take medical advice from me. And yet he is literally cutting funding for millions of dollars worth of mRNA vaccines, when he has zero medicinal experience, zero medical expertise, no degree, no nothing, and this man is condemning millions of Americans to die and undoing decades worth of research with a sleight of hand. The MAGA movement is killing this country. It's not just RFK, it's not just Trump, it's every single person who voted for this man in 2024. They're killing this nation, death by 1,000 cuts. This is unreal. We're cooked. We are absolutely cooked.